Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. So today we are going to talk about a few things you should never do with your makeup, in my opinion. Let me get that in there. And these are more things that I've come up with in terms of how they affect your makeup long term, how it sits on the skin, how different things. So let's get into it. But just before that, if this is your first time here, hi, my name is Robert. I'm a professional makeup artist here on YouTube and also in real life. And it's my goal to help you become a pro yourself or just someone who's really good at makeup. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, then do please consider subscribing. Also consider joining my channel where I do a live every month exclusively for members. I sometimes post member only videos and I reply to all your comments, and I just do more like educational one-to-one content that way. Okay, so my first thing not to do with your makeup is applying foundation, whether it be powder, cream, liquid, onto wet skin. And by wet skin, I mean skin that you've just prepped, whether it be with a primer, a moisturizer, serum, when it hasn't properly absorbed into the skin. Now, if you're online a lot, whether you're on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and you see all these reels or TikToks, and people like, my skin looks like this, can anyone help? And it looks separated and it looks a little bit weird. Sorry, I have a window right here, and the sun's going in and out and it's changing the color. Most of the time, a lot of the time, it's down to over prep of the skin. Now, this can come down to a few different things. Maybe you're using something too hydrating and it's separating your foundation. Maybe you're dropping product on your skin rather than just using the tiny bit that you're meant to use. Dropping is overuse of product. One drop, a lot of the time, will just do the whole face. And so your skin isn't taking that in properly and it's kind of just sitting on the surface of your skin and it's going to break down your foundation. Or something as simple as you're just not giving your skincare enough time to do what it needs to do. That can be eye cream, lip balm, moisturizer. Whatever it is, give it a good amount of time. I always like to apply it, give it maybe 5 minutes, do like your eyebrows, do your hair, and then you can go over and pat with like a dry sponge or a tissue just to make sure there's no excess skincare laying on top of your face. And that'll keep your foundation sitting nicer and smoother for a longer time. Now, one thing you see a lot of is people, I'm already wearing foundation, but I'm going to show you what I mean anyway, applying their foundation like this. And they'll do little dots everywhere, and then, oh, it's gonna look really horrible when I blend it in. And basically they do that over the whole face. Now, here's my issue with this, and much like my issue when you do this with skincare is you're not measuring out your foundation correctly to a point where you're actually going to start wasting some of your product. I don't know where I put those dots, and now I can't see if I blended it. You might end up using more foundation than you need, and again, using the right amount of foundation for your skin type and for your coverage is going to help with longevity of wear for your foundation. So if you're dotting around the whole face and not really measuring out how much you need, then that's not going to help so much. And by measuring out, I don't mean getting a measuring jug and being like, oh, I need 1.2, I don't know, what do you measure in a measuring jug? Grams. By measuring, I like to use a palette or the back of my hand, and it's not very wasteful, don't worry, it's fine. Foundation isn't going to absorb into your hands, and I do like 1 or 2 little pumps. Then I'll start in the middle of the face, on myself and on clients also, but I'll use a palette for clients and be more hygienic, and work my way outwards to see where I need the most coverage. You don't always need a full coverage across the whole face. You might need more coverage here and just a lighter coverage here. So it's so much nicer to start off bit by bit and then slowly blend out. You're going to save yourself a lot of time, a lot of foundation, and your skin is actually going to look nicer and more skin-like this way. And this also goes for concealer. Now, concealing has become this thing where people use concealer to brighten under the eyes, and in some cases it looks fine, but concealer is a heavier product than foundation, and we use it in the area of our face that is lighter in terms of skin texture, thinner in terms of skin texture. So under the eyes, for example, we use our heaviest product, and we use too much, way too much. There's nothing wrong with full coverage. Concealer is already full coverage. It's going to cover. So we don't need that excess. Again, what I would do with concealer, just like I would do with foundation, is use a tiny bit at a time. Use that applicator to your advantage and just use it to dot that product on. You can always add more later. Who wants crusty under eyes? Honestly, who wants crusty under eyes? Like, you see these videos of people applying loads of stuff and you're like, I look so highlighted, and you look really closely and wait for that filter glitch and you see all this crumbly. No, thank you. Okay, here's something that might be a little bit, some of you might not mind, some of you might. Bronzer over the whole face with a big brush. Like this. I love this brush for powder. But back in the day anyway, back when I used to see my friends do their makeup when I was in school and I wasn't really into makeup, whatever, they'll get their bronzer and they'll stab their brush into it and then just go over the whole face with their bronzer. Now, not only does this look a little bit bad. Let's be real, when you're fucking up your brush. But also, although bronzer isn't contour, it does definitely add a structure to the face and definitely adds some kind of shadowing. So with bronzer, you want to be a little bit more careful and a little bit more precise. You can still use a big brush, but do bear in mind, bronzer is a product that can oxidize very quickly. And when bronze oxidizes, it looks orange, pure orange, not just like, oh no, my foundation looks orange, the color orange, you know? So imagine you've gone over your whole face like this and you've only got a tiny bit of bronzer on your nose, you've got a gap here, you've got a bit here, you're oxidizing here, you're oxidizing here. It gives you this uneven coverage in terms of color and its inconsistency with your bronzer. Bronzer can be used just like contour, just like blusher around these areas here. Yes, you can go down the side of the nose, on the tip of the nose if you want to be cute, but still do some precision with your bronzer. It doesn't have to be over the face like, you know, thing, like wild application. It doesn't have to be that way. I feel that like that's a very 90s thing. Okay, let's talk about, and this is one I say a lot, but I just want to reiterate, your highlight touching your contour or your bronzer. Now, if you think about highlight, they're sometimes slightly metallic, slightly shiny. They have to, they need a glow to them, right? Or they're just like the wet kind. That's fine. I'm talking about highlighters with color, with tones, with shades. I was going to burp and I tried not to and I swallowed it and I said that weird. If that touches something, you know, like a bronzer or something that's a contour that has more of a grey undertone, you get this weird metallic grey color. There was definitely a period of time where a lot of people would walk around with this, when highlighter was just becoming a thing. It's always been around, but when people were really discovering like the contour highlight kind of situation where their contours would be blended into their highlighters and we'll get this metal, it looked like silver face paint almost on their faces, and it looked muddy. It looked really muddy. And I've seen it more recently on when I've been starting like a Housewives series, you know? It was very much a trend of the early 2000s and a little bit later into it as well, and it's still something we see now. Now here's the deal: sandwich. Let's make a sandwich with your products. No matter where you put it, whether it's up this way, whether it's up this way, let's layer them. So your contour. How do I do this? Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it like this. Your contour can overlap with your bronzer. Your bronzer can overlap with your blush. Now, here's where you have to be careful, right? Your highlighter here can overlap your blush, but don't let it overlap your bronzer or your contour. So keep those layers as separate as possible, but just keep those metallic finishes away from something grey. It's fine on your eyes because we're used to like different colours being on your eyes, you know? Whereas we're used to like grey eyeshadow or metallic eyeshadow, whereas in terms of tone, whereas like a metallic silver on the cheek, as cool as it can look, might not look great for your everyday makeup, and some people may be doing it accidentally. So just bear that in mind. Where did the crust come from? So do just bear in mind layering off your product as you're doing your makeup. And my last thing I want to talk about, which I don't think I've spoken about for a while, is that you should never do with your makeup, is remove it with a wipe. So wipes, a lot of people say, yeah, but I wipe and then I rinse my face. There's no point. One, wipes are really bad. Anyway, if they're dissolvable, bad for the environment, whatever. Sometimes they are needed for people, and I know there are a lot of people that do need to use them, and they're great in a setting like a professional setting. However, if we are just at home and we can help it, let's try not to use as many as we can. If you are going to use a wipe and then wash your face anyway and then rinse off, just use a cleansing balm. A cleansing balm you can whack on right now. Like I could peel off my lashes and just go straight on top of my makeup, dissolve all that makeup. It's really satisfying to do. It's safe to use. They are safe to use around the eyes, around the mouth. It dissolves all that makeup and then you rinse it away. And then you can be done. I prefer to double cleanse and go in with a face wash, and it's just the same. There is no point in putting your skin through what wipes do to your skin in terms of the way they're packed, the ingredients on them. And I would go and look this. Don't ask me in the comments. I would go and look at like a proper skin specialist and let them explain to you why wipes are bad for your skin. But do your skin a favor and stop using wipes. Even micellar water would be better than a wipe. Like on one of those reusable cotton pads, and just use that. It's going to break down makeup just as much, probably even better than a wipe would. Wipes give the appearance of removing all your makeup, but they really don't. They don't get deep down like a double cleanse would. Okay, that was a quick one for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Is there anything you would never do in makeup? Let me know below. I would love to know your opinions. Please consider subscribing, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.